Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in
Hey,
to ChannelBK. It's Brian, Joshua Kirk. Uh,
hey,
what's on repeat? April through June 2026. It's been hot as hell this week. Did you get hit with this heat wave too this week?
oh yeah, it's been crazy hot.
I've been dying in my house. The power was out last night. We were gonna shoot then, and I was laying on my kitchen floor feeling like I was gonna die because I was so hot. Well, luckily my power's back, and we're here, and we're gonna talk about some stuff. Today we do have a shared album,
Yes,
but we'll end on that. But we'll do our normal order as we do. I will lead with my single. So the thing that I told Josh is really other than our shared album, both of the things I'm going to talk about. Single, not as much. I've actually been enjoying listening to the single, but the album, I don't have as much to say, mainly just because there hasn't been a lot that has really grabbed me in these few months. Not because I don't think anything's been terrible, just because nothing's really been that big of a deal to me, unlike our shared album. So the single that I'm picking is We Might As Well Be Strangers. This is Weezer featuring Josh's band that he loves, Wednesday, mainly the vocalist from Wednesday. The Gold album is coming out. And this is kind of the new phase of the Weezer kind of pipeline. They did that like seasons EP where they did all four seasons. I
yeah,
listened to a couple of the songs on each of them. It wasn't like terrible or anything, but it was just all right. But the last time we actually got a full project was the Van Weezer project, which was kind of like their big like 80s hair metal kind of rock album after Okay Human, which was their very stripped back kind of artsy album with a lot of strings and whatnot on it. So obviously we're getting a self-titled album. So we're like, okay, so what's the phase of this? The last time we got one was the Black album, which I personally did not dislike. I actually liked it. I don't think it was like amazing, but I definitely was not in the camp of a lot, if the majority of people that said it wasn't great. So I was like, okay, it's been a while. Let's see what Weezer's doing now. We all know kind of how Weezer is. There's a lot of quantity. Quality's kind of 50-50. You don't know what you're going to get.
yeah,
I personally like these two songs. I'm not gonna sit here and try and like rave that they're the most incredible Weezer songs, but it's one of those things where when you get good Weezer, it's just nice to go, that's a good Weezer song. Um, can you remind me what is the vocalist's name from Wednesday?
yeah. Carly Hartzman.
Okay, she's on it as well. I really like the singing with them back and forth. I thought it was really nice. I like seems like this album is going to be very, and I say this kind of ironically or like as a joke, it's going to be very bright and shiny because these two songs are very crunchy sounding. Like the guitars feel very loud and in your face. Um, Shine Again is a cool song. I think this song's a lot better because I think the melody and the groove is a lot more interesting. Um, but I just when it first got announced, this was sort of their proper way of saying we're the new album's coming out. And I just like the song and I've been listening to it. And again, when you get good Weezer, it's like cool. When you get bad Weezer, you're just like, okay, well, hopefully next time around. But I think it's good Weezer. I'm excited for the album. I'm interested in the album. Like I said, maybe we're gonna get into that really good Weezer album camp. I think it's been not too long, but because I think Okay Human was really good. But it was because it was very different for them as well. This seems like they're kind of like doing what Weezer's known for. But I think the feature is interesting. I think that's a kind of unique thing for Weezer to do. But yeah, so that is my single.
But ladies and gentlemen, kind of the current queen of indie feels, indie sadness, all that jazz, is finally back. Yeah, it's the new Phoebe Bridgers single, Lost Boys. Her last album, Punisher, was yeah, that was kind of her big breakthrough. And coincidentally, around the time we started the show was like, um, not too long after that album had just come out. And yeah, you and I, like many people, loved it. And since then, obviously she's done a lot. I mean, like she's done like Lucy's singles and like collaborations, probably most notably on SZA's last album. And then yeah, and then 2023 was the return of her supergroup Boy Genius, and that ended up being their breakthrough year. Um, but after that, she's kind of disappeared. Like she hasn't been on social media for a couple of years. Her label Satisfactory has put out some stuff and like she's produced records. But yeah, she pretty much was kind of yeah, not real she kind of was not really present in the public eye for a while. But fast forward to this year, I heard that she's been doing these like um pop-up concerts around the country, and like they've been like no phone shows, so like yeah, you can't find, you won't be able to find like footage from those shows on the internet. But then she like announced this for real tour, and I'm actually gonna go see her in September. I'm very excited. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, I can already tell that we have an album. This song, I think, it's a very interesting song to kind of lead us into this new album cycle. So Phoebe kind of has this very particular like approach and style that she has to like songwriting or melody or like like sonically uh kind of the way her songs sound like she's definitely an artist where you hear a song of hers and you're like, yep, that's a Phoebe Bridgers song. um and this song is kind of that, but like there's things in there that kind of feel like different, like it kind of like it has sort of a like the sound is like a little bit bigger, and like it's one of those tracks that like the more I listen, the more I kind of find new things in there. And like and she's got a lot of people she's collaborating with too that I've seen, like Jack Antonoff is a co-producer. um Alex G is involved. Bo Burnham is actually a co-songwriter as
Hmm.
well, and like and alongside kind of her usual like cohort of people, including Julian Baker and Lucy Dacus. I think the melody is really nice. I think songwriting wise, it definitely is very much in that Phoebe Bridgers style, and yeah, kind of the way she sort of brings in this like Lost Boys like sort of uh imagery to like the chorus, like they never grow up, never go home, stuff like that. It's sort of like you're saying with your single, it kind of feels like what they do,
Hmm.
uh, but with like uh but they do kind of different things that uh kind of keep it
Yeah.
interesting, and like there's a lot going on, but it's not like overproduced, like it still is like very well put together. And yeah, I'm excited for this new Phoebe Bridgers album, which actually, like Weezer, it's an album coming out in August. That is my single that I have been repeating. The single album I'm going to talk about, I will say both this and my single were kind of uh like they were not originally on my list, but like they both came out like last week, and I kind of last minute was like, yeah, I think I need to revise my list. It's American Aquarium with New Ways to Lose. They are an Americana alt country rock band, from Raleigh, North Carolina. And I happen to know their frontman, BJ Barham, in person, and like I have an interview with him on my channel that I did
Mm.
last year. So yeah, y'all should go check that out. And yeah, they've been around for like 2 decades at this point, and they've had a very interesting trajectory. Like their frontman's been like the one sort of consistent member their whole career. They've had multiple changes to their lineup, and like they've kind of evolved musically a little bit too, but they've kind of remained like kind of in that genre. And yes, I did talk about them, like just like with Phoebe, I did talk about them our very first What's on Repeat. They put out an album at the time, 2020, named Lamentations, that I really liked a lot, and I like that was kind of a small breakthrough for them a little bit. And yeah, they've kind of been continuing since then. I'll kind of reiterate something I told you about the album when it came out. Like the thing that I think, I mean, first off, I'll say off the bat, I love this record so far. It's probably my favorite album of the year. We'll see if anything ends up surpassing it. But yeah, at the moment, I think like that this is definitely very possible for that. But yeah, but what I love so much about it is every song is just so well written, performed, and produced, and like deeply relatable in terms of a lot of the sentiments and the emotions like going into these songs and the stuff he talks about on here. Like so Dollar General opens the album, and it's kind of a song sort of about kind of the recent state of kind of like the small town in which he comes from, and he presents it in a way that's very believable and engaging with, and his like his the thing that really stands out, like his voice, I think is very unique. The band's sound like works off of that very well. Can't Into Could is low key probably my favorite song on here. Like it's basically the message of the song is like someone tells you you can't do something, and it kind of makes you want to like prove to them even more like well watch me. I can do this, and I'm gonna turn this like can't this thing I can't do into something I could do, and ultimately something I can do. And like that's kind of been a big philosophy of mine my whole life. And like I heard this song, and I'm like, finally somebody wrote a song about it. And yeah, I think it just this song rocks. And Twin Flames is like one of the singles on this record, and clearly it's a love song, but like a lot of the like cliches or some of the corny stuff that's kind of associated with love songs, like this song just wants nothing to do with that. It is so well written and genuine, and I think musically too, it uh feels very bright and kind of rockin', and I think it works. History repeats itself given some really unfortunate events that occurred early 2026. It's definitely got a message that rings pretty true right now. And like this album just yeah, just continues to just churn out gold. Like um Just Like You is another song that I think is like it's another kind of ballad style song, and yeah, just yeah, it's just gorgeous. And like yeah, it's like a very like uh uh emotional moment on the album. It's not like a super dense long album. It's 10 songs, 34 minutes, and like it feels as short as it is. And like it like kind of when you have an album that tight, you have like no time, no room to like just fuck around. Like it never feels like a moment is wasted on here. Like it just it does exactly what it intends to do, and like I think does it very well. And like I would definitely I'd recommend it even to people who are like maybe not into this style of music. It's cool when a band that has been around for so long can like late in their career come out with something that's like really good. I think this record's incredible, and given that it is a kind of underrated album, y'all should like yeah, kind of seek it out for yourself if you can.
So I ended up telling Josh this was probably going to be my album, mainly because it was probably the closest to just intrigue that I had. And it's a very normie pick and it's a funny pick. You seem pretty sad for a girl so in love by Olivia Rodrigo. Girl, I can relate. Olivia Rodrigo,
Yep.
as we know, is kind of like the hottest pop star right now. I don't know if hottest, but most interesting pop star right now.
Yeah.
And she blew up with her first album, kind of like coming out of COVID, driver's license, that was huge. And then that album, I think, introduced a lot of really interesting sounds and some unique songwriting on a semi-simple pop album. And then her next album, I think she cranked up a lot of the intensity to make something that was a lot more in your face. And I think, again, songwriting wise, it was just as good, and she was getting better. And then this album comes out, and it's a thing we talk about a lot on albums, where like there's those albums that you can't, I'm not saying you can't describe it, but there's those albums that like it's hard to describe why it's so good, because this album doesn't really jump out at you.
No.
And it's a kind of a two-sided story. The first half of the album feels very poppy, atmospheric. Um, I wasn't necessarily like, this is amazing, but I was like, okay, like this seems, it was more low key and it definitely was a lot more textured than before. And so I was like, okay, this is one of those like kind of mature, just listen to what you're getting sort of thing, because it wasn't necessarily jumping out at you. But then the Cure comes on, not
Yeah.
not the band, even though Robert Smith does come on a few songs later. But then the
Yes.
song The Cure comes on, and it basically becomes this completely different album. But this album sort of does things a lot more meticulously. There's a lot more depth to each song. It felt like you're not, again, nothing's really jumping out at you. Even the song with Robert Smith on it, What's Wrong with Me, is so weird. Like it kind of,
Oh yeah, it's kind of yeah, like yet another kind of, unexpected little collab.
but then the song progresses and then Olivia singing on it and then Robert singing on it. And it's the way the song comes together, and she really pulls you in. Like this is one of those
Mm,
examples of like she kind of grabs you, because a lot of times the production is not necessarily like, because a lot of times when you listen to a pop album, you need something that kind of is a little bouncy or like has a kind of flow or a rhythm. This has that a little bit, but it's a little more subdued. So when you're listening to it, you're kind of more engaged with her, and she's very engaging because I think it sounds really good. And again, kind of that arc that this album takes a journey on. Again, I like a lot of the opening songs. Like Drop Dead's cool, stupid song I like. I like Maggots for Brains. That's another kind of odd song. Overall, this is one of those things where it just seems like every album she's progressing into a more interesting songwriter, and kind of what she likes to dabble in is really cool. And again, like The Cure is one of those songs where I think that's the everything before that, I think is pretty good. That song kicks this album into a whole nother gear.
I mean, I very much am right there with you on uh a lot of you said. I also think Expectations is another song that like
Hmm.
feels a little bit uh w- uh weird like sonically. It's like one of the moments that's like more in your face, but like the way that synth is like like yeah, it kind of yeah, it sounds sort of like off, but in a good way. And then of course like she really just brings it with the song rating and like her singing too, and like uh too when like there's even a moment where there's like even like trade off like male female like vocal at one point. I really like this album a lot, and yeah, I think it's definitely like her best so far for sure.
You got to talk about your album that you believe is your favorite album of the year so far. And you happen to share the album we're about to talk about, which is currently my favorite album of the year. That album is For Love of Grace and the Hereafter by Ice Age. Ice Age is a group that I got into with Beyond Less back in 2018. I heard a lot about them and I was like, okay. And this was at the point of my life where I wasn't really doing music reviews anymore, but I'm like, I want to start getting back into music. So I listened to it. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's very nondescript. I don't really remember hating it. I don't remember loving it. I thought it was fine. And I was like, okay. And Seek Shelter came out, which is my favorite album of 2021. And I just kind of liked how weird that album was. And it was like funky and it was dark, but it was also uplifting and it was also depressing. And then I
And he
finally went back to Plowing into the Field of Love, and I was like, okay, I understand it now. Um, I haven't gone back and listened to their first two records, and I should
eh,
because it's annoying that I haven't. Um, but so I at that point I was like, okay, I understand why people were kind of weird about their newest releases. I still think Seek Shelter is really great. But then Elias, their lead singer, songwriter.
singer. Yep.
He went off and did his own solo albums. I liked the first album a lot. I really didn't care for the second one. And then we got to this album and we got a couple singles coming out. And I was listening to them being like, okay, I'm hoping this leads to a fabulous album because I thought those singles were really good. And well, spoiler, it is. And the thing that is so fascinating about this album is it really just feels like plowing into the field of love, but like flipped. Like it has the same kind of energy and it has the same kind of raw recording and aesthetic to it, but it's not like chaotic. There is chaotic moments on here and we can get to some of those. Um but it has a very bright feel. It has some old school like rock to it as well. And it's one of those albums that like I just remember putting it on and it it just takes you on a journey and every song feels so different and interesting. Ember, which is easily one of my favorite singles of the year, starts this album off. And I just that there's something that intro is so Ice Age. There's a beauty, there's a poeticness, but it's also just nasty and just rough sounding with the little bells and the guitar. And and then once it kicks into gear, it's like whoa. And I just love the drive to it. I love the way the drums and the guitar sound with each other. Um, and it is intense. The way it cuts to the chorus too, where everything just drops out with the little acoustic guitar. I think it's hilarious how everyone's made fun of Elias for not knowing how to say the word ominous. Ominous. I don't know how in an omi.
I
Yes,
love
omious
you
way. Yes.
in an obvious
Yeah, he
way.
says ominous really weird. I thought that was funny. But that kicks the album into high gear. Match Head Girl again. It's like da 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 ba down ba down ba down, and I'm like, it immediately. I was like, okay, I know exactly like what the aesthetic of this album is. I'm like, I'm with it. Again, Elias is just crooning, and all of these melodies sound so great. I even think his do 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 is catchy as hell. It works. The Week this is like modern noise rock anthem. Like it should not work. This song sounds so weird and yet it's so catchy. I just love the grooviness to it and then I love the clapping and then I think that's a harmonica solo.
No, that's actually flute, I think.
That's a
That's
flute.
what
Whatever it is. It's like what? what is happening? Like it is a song. Listen, that song is 3 minutes and 16 seconds. It feels like a 6 minute song. Like it has so many different passages to it. No Fear kind of calms us down a little bit. I love it. God,
Yeah, I love the simplicity of that song.
the groove is so perfect. Like you said, it's so simple, but it's fine. Like it's so. 'Cause you know what? Every once in a while you'll hear a song where it's even though it's so simple, the groove and the key that it's in, it just hits that sweet spot in your ear that you're just like, you just relax. I talked about chaos. The next two songs, probably the most chaotic songs on the album. Let's see here. Salve for Every Pore.
Sore.
I don't know what the hell Elias is going on about. He's losing his goddamn mind on this song. And then Mother of Pearl again is another song where he's just hooting and hollering, and it's like what the
Mary,
hell's
Mary,
going on?
Mary, 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 Mary.
He is so charismatic. Like he hooks you in so much on these songs. I love Tender Blades. I love the songwriting on there. I thought that was wonderful. Star was a song. I didn't really love it when I first heard it. I love it now. Every single time I hear it, I love that hook. Dying like a star, centuries apart. God, dude. Like, I love, like, this kind of goes back. Like, when I think of all the singles that came out, this is definitely the most simple one. This feels like the most, like, we're back to doing this kind of sound. Um, and again, I think it's such a clever song. And again, the groove, the again, it's crazy listening to this album and feeling like it's so nasty and dirty, but it's also so clean without being clean. Like it feels like how Seek Shelter was, but without it having sludginess to it. You know, like I describe Seek Shelter as the album that you go to a bar at like 2 in the morning and that's what they're singing. And you're just all like, yeah, you gotta pick me up. And then like this album is like 8 o'clock in the morning hits, and you're just like, the sun's coming up. It's time to jam now. It's like, it's a crazy transition. I think True Blue. Listen, I know a lot of people have this is like a typical thing with people where they're like, it's if it the acoustic song ends the album. I thought it was great. I thought this was a great way to end the album. I think Elias sounds so good on it, and it's like menacing too. Like the ending is so just like eerie, and it gets under your skin. I think it is such a dope way to end this album. And I think this is just one of those albums where like again with Seek Shelter, my whole opinion on it is Beyondless to me just felt like what they've been doing, but very like here. Like it just felt fine. Seek Shelter, I can understand people not liking. I'm going to be honest, I kind of liked how weird it sounded. I liked that it was sludgy and kind of gross and like bassy and just like it just felt gross. Like it felt like again, it feels like you're just like up at like super late at night and you're just with a whole bunch of people and you're sweating your ass off just grooving to these songs. This is more in your face. And again, like even the moments that are chaotic, they still don't sound as terrifying as stuff that they've done before. Like there's like a pleasantness to this album, which is why I love it. I think this is one of those albums where I can listen to it in any context. I can listen to it straight through. I can listen to specific songs. I think there's great songwriting. I think there's great slower tracks, more upbeat tracks, in your face tracks. I think there's songs that I'm like, this is so sweet. And then there's songs that are like, what the fuck is going on? I love it. It's great. And I think I'm glad this seems like an album that people are like, okay, Ice Age is Ice Age again. Because this definitely has that. Again, it just feels like that plowing in the field of love, just a little more bright, a
Oh
little more
yeah,
uplifting. And that's why the album cover too. I love the album cover. It's so, it has such a like loveliness to it. But
oh yeah, oh
yes.
yeah. I really liked how raw and like in the moment this record felt, and like I it never really feels like the energy like lets up,
Mm.
like it definitely is like I mean it's very much just a ride from start to finish, and like yeah, the personality and songwriting comes through really strong, and like I have kind of a weird relationship with Ice Age as well. Like, I mean, like, uh, I've always known that who they were and kind of how important they've been for like kind of post-punk in the last 15 or so years. I
Mm.
did listen to their last record, and granted, I didn't love it as much as you, but I was kind of like okay, I can kind of see the appeal. And yeah, I listened to both of his solo albums, and unlike you, I actually did really like his second one a lot. And I kind of went into this sort of like, okay, new Ice Age album. I'm sort of interested to see kind of the approach, and I kind of hearing tastes of it and stuff. I was sort of getting an idea for it. And yeah, I really dug this album, and I pretty much was just like, yeah, I was kind of Bob in my head, like, yeah, this is pretty dope. I guess maybe my one little critique is that this album definitely has kind of a specific sound. I do think there are moments where it feels like songs can kind of blend it into one another. Like there's kind of a similarity to sort of the approach, but like, but I don't think like, it really hurts the album. Like you were saying, uh, I think the grooves on a lot of these songs is just like, yeah, like you, I've been listening to like specific songs from it a lot, and when there's songs that I like, there's songs on here that like I have been listening to a lot, like, and then there's other songs that I don't really listen to much outside of the context of the album, but like when I do hear them, I'm like these songs mixed with these others is like it has such a good like flow to it. I would say.
This is such an easy album to listen to in any context. I can listen to it if I want to jam. I can listen to it if I'm like, I need something thought provoking. I can listen to it if I'm just kind of like, I need background music. Like, this has all that covered. And it's like, it just feels like the boys are just, let's write some great tunes.
I kind of went into this album with the mindset of like I feel like maybe Elias is gonna take some of the things that he did on his solo stuff and kind of put it in more of an Ice Age context. And I think you, in terms of like some of the sounds they use and like the way he's like writing too, I definitely can see that. And yeah, I really loved this album, and yeah, I think it's probably gonna wind up being in my like top 10 albums of the year probably. And yeah, I've kind of been listening to it sort of in the same way that you have, and like and I think like Olivia Rodrigo is an album where you really just have to like pay attention. This album, you don't always have to like be like paying attention to it. Like you could kind of, doesn't matter, you could be in any kind of mood, and like yeah, that this album would very much like be in that space. Whereas Olivia, it's kind of like you have to be in that pace of like, okay, I kind of could use some feels right now.
A lot of artists coming back that we've missed, a lot of personal favorites. Two of our two favorite albums of the year so far are on here.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think of all this stuff. Leave it in the comments below, like, comments, subscribe. What are your favorite singles and albums from April through June? I'm very interested in the rest of the year. It seems like not a lot has been talked about, but also we have so much that like we know. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the year plays out for sure. And like Josh said, we two of our albums we're already looking forward to come out next month. So we're already going to be getting those as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, yeah, other than that, I hope you all are staying safe and staying cool in this crazy weather.
Oh yeah.
Um, until next time, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to Channel BK. That's Josh. I'm Brian. Peace out, everybody.